And then replacing that negative content with positive, kind acts or other people doing positive, kind acts and stories, it will actually change your mind and outlook on life the same way that replacing the fatty junk foods with like good proteins and nutrients will change your body.
Be kind. It's a very simple phrase, but it can really have a positive and impactful meaning on your life. Ron from Be Kind chats with me on the podcast to discuss the psychological benefits of being kind and how the app can play a beneficial role in your everyday life. So, let's do it.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. I see you broken and beat, head pulled down over your eyes. Every part of you wants to surrender, but darling, you were meant to survive. With every star.
Ron, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, anytime, anything kindness wise is so up my alley. So I'm so honored to have you guys on. And like the name Be Kind, it sort of reminds me of the name of my podcast, No Politics, because I don't think that you can make something sound more simple or more clear as to what your message is all about.
I know, right? I know, right?
So if you could walk us through, if you may, what exactly is Be Kind and how did it get started?
Yeah. So Be Kind is actually a small project that the team did 2-3 years ago. The idea behind it is to be able to help the community in our way, in our simple way, of how to kind of spread love to everybody. It's just that it's a little difficult to express love because love is like a universal language, and it can mean different things if you're talking to different people. So since we work in technology side and we are technologists by profession, the only way we know we could help spread that word of kindness and love is to be able to use an app, and that's why we developed the app. It's a little hard to create that love in an app format. So we think of what can we do to be able to kind of promote that love to other people, and that's where Be Kind was born. So Be Kind is basically just a form of different actions at different steps that everybody could take. It doesn't matter whether you're young, it doesn't have any age bracket, whether you're like 50, 40 years old. The idea behind it is to be able to kind of do kindness one step at a time.
That is exactly what I love about it too, is because it's not an app for anyone listening. It's not an app like an Instagram or a Facebook that it's looking to engulf your entire life, so where you have to go on and you're scrolling on it for hours and hours and hours. I love the app because it's task oriented, like you're on there to do something good and then you're off and then you're on again. You're not just going to find yourself staring at the screen. And I do love that because it's a different type of app. Most apps now are just trying, okay, let's be in the boardroom now. Once we get them on, how do we keep them on so they never leave? And then when they get off, we want to enforce them to crave to be back on again, and it's not that, which I love.
Yeah, it's to us, it's all about creating simplicity, right? Yeah. We know there's different types of audience out there. That's based on our just experience working with different technologies. It's a matter of how can we simplify this act, this love, and how to promote this love through act of kindness, And again, it's for us straightforward. You show them what needs to be done. Every day it's going to be different. Okay, we have libraries of different kindness per se. So every day you're going to see different acts of kindness that we actually put in as part of the app. So
yeah, and basically, if you could walk us through too, so somebody downloads the app. what is it that they're first going to be doing on it and doing each day?
So the app is very simple though. Once you download the app from your favorite store, whether it's iOS or Android, we don't really care what type of OS you use. Once you download the app, the first thing they have to do is basically register. The reason why we ask people to register is because we protect the customer asset, making sure that everything is protected, based on the different security levels that we put in as part of the app. So once you're registered, that's it. It's going to work like a charm. Every day you're going to be receiving some messages. You can actually schedule the message to be received on different hours of the day if you want, just to kind of give you that notification or that bell to be able to kind of let you know, hey, maybe you can try this act of kindness, Again, every day it's different.
Oh, you can schedule the times where it comes in, the message? Oh, because
Right.
I'm getting all of mine right at 8 a.m. I guess that must be like the template, which is it's a great start for me because the very first thing everyone looks at, especially me, when I wake up is my phone. And the very first thing I see is be kind. That's the
Yeah.
very first message. So that's actually interesting that you said that because it's been hitting me right at 8 a.m. every single day. I get the little notification, and it is cool because I get a notification, be kind. It gives me a task. For anyone who hasn't downloaded it yet, this is kind of what you're expecting. You'll get a task. And for example, I'll share 3 that I've recently had, which is the very first one was call mom. It said the very first one that I ever got after downloading, it said call mom. And the message, call your mother. Tell her how your day went and ask her about hers. If you are very busy, do it during downtimes, like during your commute or while exercising, which when I actually do talk to my mom, it's usually when I'm commuting or when I'm exercising. And then,
Yeah.
what's awesome about that is that you can have a little bit of a community behind it where you can, comment on it. Your friends can comment on it too, your followers, and you could also share that act of kindness to Instagram, Facebook, and other things to where you could start promoting your acts of kindness as well, which is awesome. So if you're you say you call your mom, she doesn't answer, you can go on Instagram, tag your mom, say, Mom, I had my task for the day. It said call mom, and you didn't answer me,
It's kind of amazing that you share that call mom. Obviously, call mom doesn't apply to everybody, right? Because there are some families out there who's basically doesn't have their moms anymore. But
Yeah.
but I think you get the idea. There's one scenario that I wanted to tell you though. We have a few people when we're trying this out. We have a few people that we try this on, and then we said, okay, why don't we let our younger kids, to try to download the app and let them kind of use it. So I said, okay, let me try this with my kids, and then other friends of ours did the same thing, and they tried the app. They said, call mom, and then all of a sudden everybody started calling their mom. Hey mom, how are you? Hey, and then all these mommies actually started texting each other. Hey, what's going on? Everybody's calling me. But you see, it's the principle behind the object of being kind, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's like a synonymous to a butterfly effect, So it's more like creating that random act that kind of touch everybody's emotions, So I think that's what we want on the app, Obviously, each act is different, and it can apply or may not apply to everybody. But we're trying our best, especially on the cultural diversity, So there are differences in terms of how you would do that act if you're living in the U.S. or you're living in Canada or you're living in Europe and Asian countries as well. So we're going in that direction.
That's interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about my own self, which, it's interesting to where you guys do have to cater to people who live in different cultures and different countries that have different like cultural standards, I guess.
Correct.
That-
Yeah.
That is interesting. And I one more thing about the app feature as well that I loved. So I have a separate news show I'm a newscaster on YouTube as well. So I'm like in the thick of news every single day. And most of the news today is horrible. It's like either political nonsense,
Yeah.
it's very extremely negative. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Good News Network, but when I was viewing the news segments on your on Be Kind, there's a little tab for news. It's all good news and people being kind and that making the news. And it reminded me of the Good News Network because as I'm scrolling through, I'm seeing good story, but based off of my past experiences, every time I hit news and scroll, I'm expecting a negative story. Like my physiological makeup is expecting it's preparing myself to read the story that's going to trigger me to click on it. It's going to upset me. And as I'm scrolling through, I'm like recalibrating my brain to where it goes, oh, wait, no, it's good news. It's good news. It's kindness. And you're viewing positive messages and positive stories that are out there. And now you're kind of like helping battle and you're trying to kind of balance that out again, which I really enjoyed seeing. And I'll give you a couple of recent stories that I just saw on there this morning, which was headline, Officer Helps Prevent Man from Jumping Off Bridge with Hug. That was out in New Haven, Connecticut. There's a story about a man named Hody Childress, who was a farmer out in Alabama, who for 10 years until his death was secretly helping pay for people's medications at his local pharmacy who couldn't afford it. And then there was another news story with a blog post titled How to Be in Love Forever, which was written by a man who has been married to his wife for 56 years. And what's really cool is that it's not like the same news authors, it's not like the same platforms. Like it's a whole bunch of different articles from different authors and different publications that create these, which I like too, because it's a very diverse element of stories that you guys are able to give, not just from one author.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for sharing that thought, though. Actually, that's one of the items that we actually put in as part of the app, which is actually trying to kind of give back to our community, right? There's so many people out there who's actually making these little changes that deserves recognition, right? You don't have to be rich to be able to be a kind person. You don't have to be like super powerful to be a kind person. There's this word of kindness applies to almost everybody. And I think there's a psychology behind it as well. I think in science per se, I think there's some hormones that is actually triggered when you're doing act of kindness. I'm not a science guru myself, but I think there's something like an hormonal, what's called these triggers that's happening in our human brain the moment you do act of kindness. I think there's some level of serotonin or dopamine or endorphin, Yeah.
It's both. It's serotonin and dopamine, which are both neurotransmitters in the brain that they give you feelings of satisfaction and well-being and cause they kind of tickle the pleasure reward center in your brain to kind of light up. So it definitely does do well, which also is contagious. It's contagious. You do something well for somebody, they're more likely to then repeat that because somebody just did that for them. Now they're feeling well. And now that person who just did an act of kindness is then going to go and do another act of kindness because of that reward center kind of feeling a little tickled there. And I remember having a conversation with an owner of one of my gyms that I go to, where I was speaking with her because her gym is so nice. Everyone there is so super nice. Like there's never any problems. Everyone's talking to each other. People are friendly. And it's like, it's a different type of gym. It's like a very traditional family style gym, which is kind of unheard of now in the, the mega gyms that they make now. And I remember talking to her and I was like, do you know why that is? I was like, it's not because everyone who walks in here is the perfect person ever. It is because when they walk in here, they see her, the gym owner, who is so nice and so kind. And she's the first person at the door. So everyone who walks in is immediately that part of them, even if it's a big part of them or 1% of them is kindness. That's what takes place in the gym while they're there. I was like, most of the time when they're probably out in the work or in like doing something else, they might not be so kind all the time. But the thing is, while they're here, they are, because she was bringing that out in all of them. So that
Yeah,
level
yeah.
of just contagiousness, I feel like any emotion or anything that people do is contagious, whether it's you're going to be angry, you're going to be mad, you're going to be kind. It's just contagious. It's going to wear off on the other people. And what's nice that we have the choice to do it. And I'm happy to have you guys on, because it's, you guys are channeling exactly what is up my alley.
Well, actually, it's a good thing that we were talking about this. This is what we call the butterfly effect, right? As I mentioned a while ago.
Yes.
Actually, very contagious. One small act of kindness, you leave that presence to someone, you influence that person with something. It actually multiplies tenfold. There's actually a science and data behind it as well. One act of kindness is actually multiplied hundreds of times, thousands of times, based on your location and based on geographic location. But the important thing about it is those people who's making this act of kindness are actually our heroes per se, right? They're the one who should be receiving those recognition.
Yeah.
And if we start doing this, right? Imagine the positive effect that we're going to be creating in our community. Everybody's going to be heroes.
Yeah.
And it's not only being a hero, it's also being unselfish in everything that we do. Because act of kindness is actually something, or I think I heard someone from YouTube who mentioned that act of kindness is actually an action of love, which is definitely true. So the moment you start doing this act of kindness to everybody, it becomes part of that DNA of that person. So it's very contagious to your work.
Yeah, and actually, that sparked a thought in my mind. It's kind of like changing your it's like changing your cultural diet. If we think about it that way, I mean, it works the same way. What you put into your body is very important. If you're feeding yourself unhealthy foods, greasy, fat foods, and harmful snacks, your body is going to become unhealthy. And the content that you view online works kind of like the same way, especially with the apps. If you're constantly viewing negative posts, clickbaiting news articles, and people expressing their unhappiness onto the world, your brain is going to become just a ball of like negative mush, essentially, that will transmit that unhappiness onto others, and then replacing that negative content with positive, kind acts, or other people doing positive, kind acts and stories. It will actually change your mind and outlook on life the same way that replacing the fatty junk foods with like good proteins and nutrients will change your body. I mean, it literally will change you. And that could actually spark, a positive addition into your life. You might all of a sudden meet somebody because guess what? You're nicer,
Yeah.
You might make that sale because you're nicer, you're kinder. You actually did something that actually connected with somebody that you just haven't been doing. And it's not even anyone's fault. It's just kind of like, I feel like the world we live in right now,
It's actually changing too, Daniel. In fact, if you look at the new generation nowadays, right? Those new generation that's going to workplace or work environment, they prefer a working environment where culture, diversification, and kindness is embedded on the DNA of their company. Nowadays you're going to hear people working on an office environment, and you're going to be talking about stuff that they do outside their work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It used to be that when you go to an office, you do their job, but nowadays you're going to see a lot of people who's actually using their workplace too as a way to improve their outward personality. So the world is changing, and the way the world is changing is through this act of kindness that we're doing, regardless of what generation you came from. But the good thing about it is even our leadership format is changing as well. It used to be that there's like an anarchical form of leadership. It used to be a monarchy of leadership. It used to be that, hey, servant leadership is a big thing. But now there's a concept of what we call a kind leadership, where they're actually influencing people to kind of influence other people in order for them to spread the word of kindness.
Mm.
It's kind of amazing how it transforms everybody. Again, it's a shift. It's a mind shift from having a static culture to a kind culture. You know?
Yeah, and actually, Gary Vee, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him. He actually is a great social media influencer when it comes to kindness and pushing kindness out, because he's a business owner too, and he drives that mentality of be kind in your business meetings as a leader. Be kind, speak with people, and I think it is a good thing that we are. I feel like a long ways away from the days where like the bosses and leaders would be like, well, just do your job. I think
exactly.
Yeah,
I told you to do this, just do it.
Yeah. I think we're a long ways, but it was there have also been really, really great studies on kindness within the last 2 decades in psychology on how it affects the brain, and also to answer the very, very simple questions of are happier people kinder than unhappy people, and can unhappy people be kind? And I found a study in 2006 that a team of researchers from the Journal of Happiness Studies, and I'm going to absolutely butcher their names here when I give them credit, but I have to give them credit where credit is due here. We have Kiko Otaki, Satoshi Shima, Junko Matsumi, Kanako Atsu, and Barbara Fredrickson. They did
I think you said it better than I could say it.
Don't make me do it again.
Good job.
But they did a study to answer the question of, can people become happier by introducing a counting kindness system in their lives? And I came across that study. I was like, that is the most relatable thing I think possible to the app of Be Kind, is coming up with a counting kindness system, and which is so similar to Subjectify to the question a little, is basically them asking, okay, if we can have people focus on becoming more kind by having them count their acts of kindness, does that newly integrated focus on kindness in their life increase their own happiness? And they first asked their participants to count the number of kind acts they did for 1 week. Then after that 1 week, they introduced a subjective happiness scale, which is a survey that consisted of their own motivations to commit kind acts and recognition for those kind acts. And they found that people who were motivated to commit kind acts were happier people, and that from beginning to end, people scored higher on the happiness scale as the study went on, which the entire study, remember, was focused on counting acts of kindness. So to basically conclude, counting your acts of kindness does make you happier due to an increased level of kindness entering your life. And I didn't even realize either that when we think of psychology, we tend to think of like everything that involves thinking and behavior nowadays, right. But it wasn't always that way either. Research in psychology was always based around abnormal behavior and essentially studying what are the outliers, aka what is the wrong behavior, and studying that, when it actually wasn't until, and I'm going to throw this year at you, which is going to shock you, 1998, when the term positive psychology was created by the American Psychological Association. 1998, until we realized, it took us that long to realize we should start studying the positive effects of kindness, So it makes you think, and it makes it all make sense a little.
Yeah, I think this also goes back to the what is that hormones that you mentioned a while ago, Daniel? The dopamine and the
serotonin.
I think so. That hormones that is partly responsible for the well-being of everybody, right? I think those are the same hormones that's actually triggered for one person to become happy. I believe. I'm not a science guru or a science geek, but I think that's the same hormones. So the more you do, the more you trigger those hormones, through those acts of kindness, there's a outward effect for that person to become a happier person. So I think it's a good thing to kind of take note of that, because actually what we did, going back to your counting, what we did in our end is we gamify we gamify the act of kindness a little bit too. In the app, actually, we're actually giving away coins. Well, obviously, it's not a coins that you can use to buy stuff, but it's a coin to kind of give you a virtual reward. It's a way for us to kind of gamify the effect of the stuff that you do on a daily basis. Okay. And then soonish we will be able to kind of share that kind of information across your group of people when you build that group inside Be Kind That App. So I think that's coming too, So yeah, we saw the same article about counting the kindness. So we started kind of working on gamifying the app a little bit.
Yeah, and I actually have 132 coins right now. I'm not sure if that's a lot, but I've got a couple underneath my belt. So
there you go.
If anybody can top that and beat me, make sure you tag me and I'll let you know how much I'm how much I'm up. And back to your point too about the serotonin and dopamine, what makes Be Kind so sustainable is that we're hitting those levels of satisfaction within our mind, but it's in a sustainable way because we're doing good things for other people. A lot of times we try to obtain those feelings by doing things for ourselves when it becomes sustainable by doing things for other people are doing things for other people, and eventually it's going to come full circle. And that is really a sustainable way of feeling pleasure and feeling a sense of well-being is doing things for other people. And I can pick up on that when I talk to anybody who comes on my podcast too, with founders of nonprofits and therapists and people who do really good things for other people and they make it their life too. I could just pick up on how kind they are and how happy and fulfilled that they are doing this for other people. I mean, it really is profound. I think too, I'm not sure who your target demographic is, but if anybody who has a Twitter account, they should be your target demographic, because my podcast I'm trying to put on Twitter now, and I have to be so careful on what I post, and I'm just I'm gonna tick somebody off by saying anything, and it's such a negative platform, and I'm like, anyone who downloads Twitter should automatically have to download Be Kind.
They should have a hashtag Be Kind or @Be Kind, whatever they use, But here's the thing too about about everything that we do in life, right? So, for example, if you're an intelligent man, if you're a smart guy, you don't want to contain that smartness within yourself, right? Because you want that. Yeah, you want that. You want to pass that knowledge that you have to someone else. Because the only way you would preserve what you know is by you passing that to someone else. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with kindness. You don't want to create kindness because you're doing it for yourself. You don't want to please people just because it makes you happy. Obviously, there's an outside effect. There's an actual effect that's going to happen to you when you start doing those work of kindness. But the important thing is to be able to selfishly do something for other people. That's the ultimate happiness that you wanted to have, because it's not only affecting yourself, but you're actually affecting other people's lives. And you don't know what's going to happen to that person. Yeah. That person can have an adverse effect to other people, or that person can actually influence other people as well. So there's a lot to be said about that influencing and passing on. I think there's also some teachings about what they call this intelligence. Like if you have that intelligence about some stuff, make sure that you pass it on to the people that you work with, type of thing. So.
Yeah, and it'll basically work like I get the Be Kind notification to call mom. I call my mom, and she calls her mom. That's how it works.
There you go. Yeah. It's amazing how it works, So yeah. So I'm hoping that people's gonna be able to kind of really relate to all the content that we have. We have a good number of content in our libraries in Be Kind That App. And we've talked about different process and how we could improve this. So again, the app is open for everybody, and we're also open for suggestions too. In fact, we work with a few universities over the course of a few weeks now, and then trying to kind of work with them, involve ourselves with them on how we could help them spread the word of kindness. So that's coming soon. So hopefully the next time we meet, Daniel, I will be able to kind of give you more good news in terms of who's using our app and basically how we're spreading the news of kindness.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see the Be Kind app be the sole reason Twitter gets cleaned up a little bit.
You're gonna try.
Yeah, imagine a world where people on Twitter are going, "Oh my gosh, this is an amazing post. Thank you so much. I'm not going to argue with you. Spew any of this."
It's a monumental task, Daniel, but we can start small.
yeah, you're not kidding. That is no easy task to handle, because I'm like trying to find my business model on how to tweet, because it's it's Twitter. I mean, it's a zoo. It is a zoo of negativity. So I'm glad somebody is there, like you guys, that are identifying the problem. Like we all know it's a problem. We all know that online negativity is a problem, and people do generally need to be more kind. And we live in this world where I think people need kind of like that extra push. And it's nice to know that there are people out there that know that there's a problem like we do, and that are actually creating something to solve that. So it is great to know you guys are out there. I'd love to kind of help push any viewer or listener right now to download the app. It is so simple. It is not a whole, create a Facebook and you got to, put in your DNA to like have an account. And you're not going to be on it all day. It's not extra screen time. It's really, really nice, good stuff, kind acts with good news. So how can people kind of help? Is it they just download it through the App Store? Can they follow you guys on any other platforms or whatnot?
Yeah, so for the app, you can just go to any store. You go to iOS store or the Android store and download the Be Kind app. Again, you just need to register. Just put in your email address and you're good to go. Every day it's going to give you a new act of kindness, as I mentioned before. And then if you have any suggestions, feel free to kind of email us at support@bekind.app. That's basically our main support line. And we are actually monitoring that support at bekind.app 24/7. So we have people who's actually dedicating their hours to help us make sure that we answer questions that's coming from our user community. So, or if you want, you can also go to www.bekind.app.
Okay. Yeah, the only suggestion I would have is put all of your marketing dollars into advertising on Twitter. There you
go. We've been experimenting on those stuff, Daniel. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure you're gonna be seeing some traction of Be Kind app in that Twitter soon.
Yeah, I'd love to link up down the road and kind of check in and see how far you guys have gone, how many more people are doing it and sticking with it, and see if anybody can top me in the coin value.
There you go. I'll let you know. We have good number of people from different universities who's actually amazingly following every day. We can see their activities that they do every day. We can see that their coins are going up. And I'm telling you, I've seen people who has like thousands of coins.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, it's because they're taking advantage of the streaks. That's what happens. You get more coins. You get more coins based off of doing them in a row. And if you miss one day, you've completely canceled out your ability to compound those coins. So I know exactly how they're doing it. Yeah, it's like the guy from Jeopardy that would get he would like do the largest amount of questions he would earn the most amount of money and then get like the double play or whatever it's called, and then double his money, and then he'd have like 40 grand by the time halfway the game ended, and nobody can catch that because he compounded, Like, that's such a cheat, but hey, good for them. Good for them. If you have over a couple thousand
man.
coins, good for you guys, man.
You know, I wish we could send them our virtual hug, you know. So I wish we could send them notifications. Hey, congratulations on your thousands of acts of kindness that you
Hey,
did over the past how many days, you know.
You just gave yourself a recommendation.
There
Look at
you
that.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I wish I could mention your name, but
Yeah.
you know who you are.
Yep. Well, good stuff, Rod. I appreciate you guys coming on. And guys, if you download the app, find me on the app too. We'll follow each other, and you know, we can let each other know all the good stuff we're doing. And Ron, hopefully we can we'll link up down the road then.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for the opportunity. And to all your viewers, don't forget to download our app, Be Kind app. iOS, Android store is available. And if you want to help us grow as a Be Kind community, create a culture of kindness to everybody, join us and support us. Email us at support.bekind.app, and we'll be there. We'll be happy to kind of create that communication with you, and make sure that you use the app every day. It will notify you. It will give you all the goodness that we did and we research on. And don't forget, we can change the world one act of kindness at a time. You know.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's where it starts. You know, and you can't complain about the world not being a nice place and being a mean place if you're not doing kind acts. So that's a good way to kind of leave it.
Yeah. So thank you, Daniel, for the time, and to all your viewers too. Don't forget our app.
Yes.
Be Kind app. Yeah.
Yes, we will see you on there, Ron. Thanks for coming on, and to everybody, be kind.
Thank you.